The chair of the Brexiteer European Research Group said the constitutional crises erupting between the European Court of Justice is a major rift that could threaten to destabilize the European Union. Domestic lawmakers from Poland, France, Germany, and Northern Ireland have all recently challenged the European Court's oversight on national issues. Speaking to Express.co.uk, Mr. François said, "We have had the German Constitutional Court running up against the ECJ over issues about how the European Central Bank is allowed to operate. So you have had conflicts between the German Constitutional Court and the European Court of Justice." He added how now the EU has even got former Brexit Commissioner Michel Barnier, who is currently running to be President of France, going through this Damascus conversion about the EU institutions of the Court of Justice and Court of Human Rights. It comes as Mr. Barnier called for greater sovereignty for France relative to the European Court of Justice and the Human Rights Court at a presidential rally in the French city of Nîmes. The call shocked observers given his role as chief EU trumpet blower during the Brexit negotiations. Mr. François joked, "That isn't Jacob Rees-Mogg or me. That is Michel Barnier." He went on to address how the most recent example of ECJ chaos has been sparked in Poland, where the Polish Constitutional Court have ruled that EU treaties are incompatible with the Polish constitution. The ruling sparked major protests over fears Poland was heading for a polexit from the bloc. Mr. François noted how as a result this is not just an issue for Lord Frost, or Boris Johnson or me over Northern Ireland, in fact, it is becoming a trend in the bloc. He slammed how the locking horns of the ECJ with various member states' domestic courts is now a live issue across Germany, France, and Poland. Mr. François stressed it is too early to suggest the fractures within the ECJ's constitutional clashes with member states are a sign that the EU is falling apart. But he stressed it is fair to suggest that to those who believe in what he branded as the European federal dream, the EU is beginning to look rather frayed round the edges. He said this was especially the case when it involves France, Germany, and Poland beginning to object to the European Court of Justice. Not just Lord Frost and the Prime Minister. It comes as more than 100,000 Poles marched in support of EU membership after a court ruling that parts of EU law are incompatible with the constitution raised concerns the country could eventually leave the bloc. The ruling stems from what many are branding Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki's attempts to push the country away from the European Union. On Saturday, the Polish Foreign Ministry said Poland respects binding international law. They said, all obligations arising from both primary and secondary European Union law remain in force and thus will continue to be fully respected by Poland, it said in a statement. The provisions of the Treaty of the European Union indicated in the judgment remain in force. What cannot be accepted are only the forms of their interpretation or application that violate the Constitution.